Hi guys, I'm here with
Christine.
She knows her name.
Yes, Christine is my name.
I'm here with Christine and we're in Toronto.
In my home, my living room, to be more specific. Melissa, what are you doing in Toronto in my living room, of all places?
I'm visiting a friend who's wicked cool and happens to also have...
Oh, you're talking about me?
Yes.
Oh, I'm the cool person. Awesome, I'm the cool person with Tourette Syndrome.
Who also has Tourette Syndrome and will actually have a great opinion on what we're watching next.
Sorry! Dad, there's nothing to eat for breakfast.
Some cereal right here.
Oh, that's total. I don't really like that. Oh, Bob, say it!
Are those supposed to be ticks?
Supposed to be...
Yeah! Oh, Bob, say it!
I'm sorry, but this is like... Okay, I need to turn down that volume. First of all, the only time I saw anything repetitive of his was in the editing. I mean, I'm not saying he doesn't have Tourette's, but what I'm seeing on camera is just some dude swearing.
Throwing a tantrum. A child throwing a tantrum. Yeah. I think that, like, when I have angry tics, I have angry tics. Like, it sounds like I'm very angry. Mm-hmm. Him, he sounds like he's always angry. Yeah. 100% of the time, unapologetically angry. Mm-hmm. And it's just like, it seems like it's a show. But, like, I'm hesitant to say he's faking because, like, I hate it when people say I'm faking.
Tics are repetitive. There's a cadence to it. They don't feel like tics to me.
And it's 100% coprolalia. There's no twitching, no twitching, no little noises. And there's 100% copper, which I think is a thing, like it can happen. I think there's 100% coprolalia in some cases where you can only have like that. So it wouldn't be Tourette Syndrome, it would just be coprolalia.
Yeah, it's edited for funny. I don't find it funny. Apparently a lot of people do, but I don't find it funny. Yeah, I see someone just using that as an excuse to swear, which that's not Tourette's.
What was cool about it was that it was realistic towards what Tourette Syndrome is. The tics were realistic in the sense that they, like with anxiety, it was worse. And when he was feeling well, they were better. And I like that his kid coming along helped him with his OCD, kind of like it forced him to face his OCD and kind of get past it as much as he could, at least at the time.
This is one movie that I wish I actually had pointed out that it was Tourette Syndrome.
Yeah.
Just because it was portrayed very realistically. Granted, the symptoms were milder, but it was realistic. It was done very well. And yeah, it was not used as a joke.
And I like that they didn't overly glamorize the Tourette Syndrome, like make it some big, oh my god thing. It was just kind of like, this is what it is, and this is like, it was totally accepted by everyone. It was just like, this is what's going on, and that, like, who cares if he's blinking or whatever.
Yeah, it was nice to see a quirky, smart, intelligent character with Tourette Syndrome and OCD, and it was not all about swearing.
The Road Within.
The Road Within. I love it.
You love it?
Yeah.
I love it. It's gotta be my favorite Tourette movie, I think. I think so.
Yeah.
Because I could relate so much to the character. I thought it was very, like, everything about it was realistic, and just the way it was so well portrayed. The way he reacted to his tics, the way he felt about them, the way people around him acted about it. It just so realistic. It was like sitting in the beginning scene, and I was just like, that's me.
His performance, like as a person with TS, I actually believed he had TS. I actually ticked throughout the movie, feeding off his tick. And Dev Patel.
Dev Patel.
Okay, can I put a side note?
Side note, going segue.
Yes, we never do that, tangent. Never, ever. Side note, Mr. Patel, talented young actor, still very, very young. You're what, in your late 20s? You've been on our screens for the last 10 years or so, on this side of the Atlantic anyway. Anyway, I really enjoy your work. I hope you spend the next 10 years getting a career that's George Clooney or Brad Pitt-like, So that around 2028, 2029, someone offers you the role of James Bond. You heard it first here. Dev Patel for James Bond in 2028, 2029.
I'm gonna have to tag his name and see if he like Googles himself and see if he watches this. Hi Dev. Hi. Take care.
Hi Dev.
Enjoy James Bonding. And before we stop talking about The Road Within, I want to say that although there was coprolalia, it wasn't only coprolalia, and they portrayed everything else super well. There was twitching, there was noises, there was everything, there was the pluses, the comorbidities. It was just like, even though there was coprolalia, it wasn't just focused on that.
It was just the reality of coprolalia.
Right,
it was not coprolalia as a joke. It was, this is what coprolalia is. You know, this is what it's like to be in a car with someone with copro. So it could be anything, right? We don't know what it is. The movie goes on.
And they never bleeping say what it is. Ah!
Yeah.
Not what it really is, but they say what it's not, and then they go on and just go on with Tourette syndrome here, Tourette syndrome there, and they're like, no, but it's not. Why don't you say what it is then?
Well,
why leave the misconception?
You know, in one of the early scenes, Robin Williams' character is going through medical bills and tries to say Tourette's, it's hard to prove Tourette's, and blah, blah, blah. And it seems like they're trying to say it's Tourette's, Tourette syndrome, because it looks like so many other things, because it can be hard to diagnose at times.
Like I saw aspects of this, aspects of that, OCD, and yeah, she was swearing, but it didn't feel like coprolalia, like the outburst of like, bleh, word, bleh, word. It was just like, it felt more like she was talking, swearing.
I don't think it's Tourette's that makes you run at night in your pajamas in -30 weather.
I got angry that they didn't say what it actually was and that they left the lingering thought, is that really what Tourette syndrome is? I like that they pointed out through the one character saying, I looked at the symptoms, Gary. He says, you know, I've looked it up and these are the symptoms and you don't have any of them.
By the way, if it's not Tourette syndrome, Holly Hunter, that was a fine performance. You know, she played a beautiful, quirky character. What makes me upset is that it was mislabeled.
What I liked about it was, she was like, this is Tourette, it's a disability, you can't, like, she was like, this is, and it was like, she was just saying it like, in a way, like matter-of-factly, not that it was a bad thing, just that it was a thing, and it was, it was just portrayed as something that was like factual, that should be accepted, like that she should be accepted. So I like that, and that they were like talking about Tourette syndrome, not like it was some joke.
Right, everyone, like her husband, you know, I love the fact that her husband still loved her and was completely committed to her, regardless of anything.
And he clearly saw her.
Yeah.
Like, he didn't see tics, he would look at her and this great smile on his face.
Yeah.
She did twitch and stuff, so it wasn't just the coprolalia, it wasn't just the swearing. But it felt like her tics were directed towards people when in essence, tics are directed towards no one.
Because, yeah, like, every time she ticked, it was at somebody. That's something about the Tourette guy. Every time he ticks, it's directed at somebody. When I tick, it's not directed at somebody. It's not in reaction to anything.
It'll happen sometimes that I'm directing my tics, but to myself. Like, if I feel like especially guilty that I'm being noisy, I'll tick something like stupid fucking bitch, noisy bitch, and I'm just like, okay, and I just felt like I was noisy, therefore I said that I was a noisy bitch. Like, a tick can be inspired by something. Because a trigger. Like, I see red stairs and I start ticking about red stairs or red signs or like blue pajamas. If I see someone in blue pajamas, then it can be inspired by something, but I'm not like, blue pajamas there!
Right.
Like, you know, accusing the blue pajamas for my tics or something and like yelling at the pajamas. No, I'm just like randomly, blue pajamas! And it's like you like tick at the same time and you're not necessarily looking at what you're ticking at. So I think that but some people do. Maybe some people do.
I
don't know. Possibility?
It could, like, you know, next time, if we ever go to a Tourette convention, we can try, you know.
See what people do.
From my personal experience of it so far, no, because it's involuntary, or it needs to come out, and when it comes out, it comes out however it wants to come out. But yeah, disappointing again. Amy Poehler did what she could.
Yeah.
But again,
what they knew.
But when I have to tell somebody at work I have Tourette's, that's what everybody pictures. So yeah, so this is one aspect of, yeah, Tourette is funny, but it should not be funny in the sense of Tourette itself is the butt of the joke. Portrayed realistically, beautifully, emotionally correct. Inspirational, of course. I mean, that's what Hallmark movies are all about.
It was a good movie.
Yes.
A good feel-good movie.
Yes.
And it raised awareness properly. Like, everything was
Approached and handled.
It was good.
Yeah.
It was a good movie, so I recommend it for anyone who doesn't want to watch a Tourette movie that makes you mad.
Right. And I think it's good for parents as well to see, you know, what a grown person with Tourette syndrome can become. It's very difficult to try to explain to people that Tourette is a full range condition, disorder. We take differently. It's different for everybody.
I like that they showed that people with Tourette syndrome can be incredibly smart and actually are incredibly smart. Like he went out, wanted to be a teacher. Likewise. So I think that like people get the misconception that we have like some kind of
mental impairment.
Yeah. And that we're not so smart, but we're actually statistically more creative. I think that it was amazing that they showed like we are so capable.
I watched it for the first time after, like, I was about 6 months in my relationship with that guy back in the late 90s. And my tics were coming back in full force. And he watched that movie with me, and he was never the same.
Oh God.
So,
what?
First things first, Robin Tunney's performance was great. I never felt that she cheapened anything. Her performance. However, the writing, the script, the plot, the description, however, at times she would go through those periods of time where she would act out more manic or bipolar. And that was not part of TS, but TS, so she was still ticking while experiencing a polar moment, is what I saw.
Okay.
But they didn't clearly identify that, because the person watching that movie with me, again, was under the impression I was going to imminently, start drinking and
Get violent. There are rages with Tourette syndrome, but I didn't see like that as like she blanked out and started
Yeah, that was
raging.
not a rage.
I didn't see that as a rage. I saw it as something else, so I don't know. But they didn't specify that's what it was, and they just made it seem like people with Tourette were violent.
Mm-hmm. And
garbage.
That bothered me.
Yeah, it did. It created stigma is what it did.
It's weird because in the first few scenes, I thought he was made to be portrayed as someone with tics, but that also
had something else going on.
Yeah, and I wasn't quite sure if he was supposed to have a mental disability. So
only because he seemed to be treated like he was so disabled and so incapable, and like so if he's so incapable but he's not wreathing on the floor from tics, then why is he so incapable? There must be something else going on. I think that's why I was looking at it.
I think the movie was meant to be a sweet movie, heartwarming, which, it did have some of those elements. The token character to make fun of in the movie was not the person with Tourette's. To me, it did not seem insensitive. It did not seem, I thought that part was well treated. I loved that Laura's friends just took him in, just the same.
Except for the asshole in the park.
The picnic scene. That bothered me, fair enough, a bit hypocritical.
Yes,
but at the same time, I think the movie makers really tried to portray the challenge that Frank would encounter. So It's definitely not impossible
Hiya,
for someone with
hiya.
Tourette syndrome to be mistaken as someone who's foul, trying to offend people.
Okay, so South Park sucks. I mean, come on. He wasn't twitching, or well, maybe the other characters were twitching, but he wasn't. He was just like randomly cussing because he liked it and he wanted to get away with it. So it seemed like it was funny. Why would you think that you would be so happy to be able to be out of control and have no control over your words? Fuck garbage. So it just kind of like portrays the idea that people really do fake it, which brings us to where we're being accused of faking it because of idiocy like South Park. And even if they think it's just a swearing syndrome, at least they know that exists.
They are probably quite the minority of the South Park audience.
It's a minor thing,
But
it's a very small, tiny thing.
It's a stigma.
It was very well written because her tics were realistic and her reaction to it was realistic.
Overall, I thought it was well treated. It was accurate, and it was not cheapened.
And people around her, like her friend, they were very supportive and they weren't like, this is like, they saw past it.
Yeah.
And saw her as a person, as someone that they liked.
Great example of, a person with Tourette syndrome who grew up with TS in a nurturing environment. They do mention something like schizophrenia, and then the other person says, no, that person seems lucid, they are aware of their environment, etc., etc. It's Tourette syndrome. It's like right there. It points to two things. Tourette syndrome can sometimes look like schizophrenia when we're talking to ourselves. So yeah, and how they identified it right off the bat I thought was top notch.
And how they reacted to it, because it was so like, they have Tourette and they were like, treated him like completely normally.
Yeah.
He could have like ticked all he wanted and they didn't even flinch. I like that.
And that goes back to ignore the tics, not the person. First of all, Nurse Jackie is actually a really good show. The characters are well-rounded. What did you think of that first episode with Dr. Cooper?
There was pretty much one scene with it. He just reached out and grabbed her boobs. And it was like he didn't really have any other tick. So, but if the option of it being just coprolalia, they can be also just copropraxia. So if you can have just coprolalia, there's surely you can just have copropraxia. So that doesn't necessarily have to be so logical.
I found something, just because of the nerd I am. I found an interview with Peter Facinelli, who is the actor who portrays Coop. It's clear to me that he did not understand Tourette syndrome. That's an interview that was published in E! He is described as the as the person who plays the doctor with sexual Tourette's, who has to think long and hard about just how to pull off the perfect boob grab. Like, this is how they opened the article. What did you think of your character having sexual Tourette's? And then he talks about, the scenes about grabbing the boobs where it's non-sexual. Okay, fair enough. Copropraxia is very non-sexual. It might look sexual, but it's not sexual. And then they talk about the sexual tic not being explained very well. And he says, I haven't seen any scripts for next season yet, so I don't know what the plans are. But I think the nervous tic, the sexual Tourette's, clearly identify as sexual Tourette's, comes from my two mothers, and not because they are lesbian moms, but of who the lesbian moms are because of their relationship and because of who those characters are. That's why I think he developed such a nervous tic growing up.
I'm seething. Like, why isn't he more educated about what it would be?
Why didn't the writers educate themselves a little better
so that they could educate the audience?
Yeah, educate the actor.
I think that would explain why it didn't feel like a tic when I was watching it, because the actor actually didn't know what it was when he did it. So he didn't know how to act it.
Do you think it gets in our way at times, the way we're represented in the media?
I think it's unfortunate that the only ones that are really popular are like South Park and Deuce Bigelow, because there's so many other great movies that could actually correctly represent it, but those ones are so little known about. Mostly they're known about in the Tourette Syndrome community. So unless you're in the Tourette Syndrome community, you don't really know about them, but you do know about South Park, so that's really unfortunate that those are the ones that really get the attention.
I'm not saying to stop portraying people with Tourette Syndrome, by no means. There should be more of us in the media. There should be more of us that are not jokes.
That was fun, and I hope that you guys enjoyed it. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up. Or 2. Get another YouTube account, give it 2 thumbs up. Subscribe twice.
So does that mean I have to get a YouTube account now?
Damn. You're gonna thumbs up the video.
Well, I can thumbs up the video here.
Okay.
And thank you so much for having me on your channel, and thank you for watching.
Bye guys.